Okay, so we'll apply a Unwrap UVW to this model and open a UV editor. And then the first bit we're going to do is these interior detailing again. So we'll go to element mode and our options on the right, and that allows us to select elements within the viewport like so. So we'll select both of those and move these across, and then we'll try mapping, unfold mapping, OK. And we can see the issue with that is it's actually split off these the triangle sections here. So we'll try normal mapping back front, and remember, if that doesn't work, you just try normal mapping left right. Okay, so that's much more like what we wanted. So we'll rotate this 90 degrees. Well, we used the button there because it's a lot easier to use. And I'm just going to select an edge and make sure we got these the right way round. And we haven't, so we need to rotate these. So just select tool and do tools, mirror vertical. And that's much better. Okay, then for the door section, if you just select the whole area, on this we're just going to try unfold mapping. And just sometimes this won't do a good job, but other times like this it'll actually do a pretty damn good job of unwrapping it. So we're not bad there, but always go in and just go around your model and just make sure that everything is correct. So like for instance here we can see these aren't right, and we can see that down here we've got some overlap, so some issues there too. So if we go to vertex mode, we'll just select those two, and if you go to tools, weld selected, you can just weld all these together. We'll just do that for each one. Now you'll notice it actually says it's got a shortcut, Control W. If you try using that, it won't work. So try Control W. But if you turn on keyboard shortcut override, then it will work. So then just make sure you turn that off afterwards. Okay, so the other little problem area is this bit here. So that will be the, just need to turn off by element. Yeah, that'll be this bar area here. So we're just going to unwrap that separately. And to select it easily, I'm just going to select the top polygon of that shape, of that extrusion. And then if I hit the grow button here, that should just expand the selection by one polygon each side. Okay, so with that area selected, just make sure you check that that is the bit selected. To make it a bit easier to see, you can come to configure and turn off these views here. And yeah, that is that selection. Then we'll try mapping, unfold mapping, and we'll move that across to there. We'll just check that that's done a reasonable job. Looks like it has. So we're okay, so that's that door section complete. And I'm just going to put these over here. So one little thing to think about is this area in here is currently unused UV space. So what you can do, for instance, is shrink these down and slot these in here. But we're going to mess around with that once we've unwrapped all the different bits. So we'll come out of unwrap mode, unhide all, and we'll just check the other door to make sure that that also has an unwrap on, so that means both of those are done. Okay, so the next section is this back area here. Again, we'll apply an unwrap, and we're going to go straight to polygon mode, select all, and we're just going to try unfold on that whole section. See, like, okay, for instance here it hasn't worked properly. It has unwrapped it correctly, but it's not the layout we want. I'd rather have each of these sections in one piece rather than having these spread off over here. Now you can solve that, and to solve that you break the model down into smaller chunks. So we're just going to separate the top and the bottom from the rest of the model. So the easiest way to do that is to just select nearly all of it. I know that that's the top there, so we'll select all of that, and then I'm just going to remove that from the selection. Okay, so let's try unfolding that now. Okay, that's much better. That's actually how I wanted it to be. Now again, of course, we have this issue here with these, so I'm just going to select those, turn on my keyboard shortcuts, and use Control W to weld them together. I'll do the same here as well. Okay, so we're left with just the top and the bottom now. So they are unwrapped, but you can see they're a kind of different size to what they should be. So one thing we're going to do is just open our material editor, and we're going to use a checker material. So I'll just make a new one down here. So if we come to diffuse and click on the little tab here, I hope it doesn't crash for whatever reason it's doing this. And then if you select checker from the options here and put the tiling up to 20 and then apply that to the model and hit preview, then you can use these checkers to make sure your UV size is correct. So if we just select both of the top and the bottom here, and we'll just scale them up until they're near enough the same size, and we'll rotate those and slot them into place. So you see here, if I select this polygon here, I can see that it's attached to that one there. So I can actually select this now and do Tools, Flip Mirror Vertical, go to Vertex Mode, turn on by element and just select the edge, turn on Snap Mode and just snap that into place. And I can do the same with this one. It's slightly too small, and let's just scale this out a bit. And I'm going to do the same on this one because this one's still too small. Okay, so that's that section done. We'll whack that down there. Come out of Unwrap mode and unhide all. Okay, so the next section we're going to do is this area down here. So hide unselected and apply an unwrap. And actually we'll just bin that off for a second. If you come down to sweep, just make sure that you have generate mapping chords ticked on. So though we have changed the shape quite a lot, that can be useful. We'll open our UV editor and have a look at what it's done here. So we'll select this, we'll do this back area first. So make sure you get these little indents in here. If you don't, you could always use biangle. And then we'll try mapping, unfiled mapping. That looks like it's done a good job. So we'll then try selecting this area. Now it's always worth checking you've got everything selected, because by default this has ignore backfacing on. You can see here it hasn't selected this polygon. So if we turn that off, then try selecting. Turn off by angle as well, of course. There we go, we can see that's much better. It's got the whole lot now. So we'll try unfold mapping on that again. And what I tend to do, if you're unwrapping a kind of more complex shape like this with unfold, is also try relaxing it as well. Now relax will throw you off, because if you do start relax it will do something crazy like that. But if you set it to face angles and try start relax, it should do a much better job of it. So we'll do the same on this area here, making sure we've got everything selected. Unfold and then relax, making sure you select face angles. And then the last section is this. We want to make sure that we take off these little panels here, because we're going to do those separately. So we'll try unfold, and then we'll also use our relax option. Okay, now our last section of these, so we'll just do unfold on those. We'll rotate those 90 degrees and place them there. Okay, so again, apply your checking material and we'll just roughly get the size right here. So obviously we can already see these two sections here are much bigger. I'm just going to turn on by element, make sure I haven't missed any area off the selection. That's not looking too bad. Okay, so that's that area done. Okay, so the next area is this. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to apply a checker material to everything that's unwrapped so far, so that we're aware of what's left. So we've done a reasonable amount so far. We've got the interior left to do, and these handles as well, and this top section. Okay, so we'll look at this area next. So if we just come over to modify, and we'll apply an unwrap to this, and we'll just apply a checking material. Now something that's worth noting about unwrapping, if we look at our UV set here, we'll just select this, that's our centre area there, and that's that section there. Now sometimes if we unfold this, it'll actually make it much harder to texture. Now our UVs are not bad, we do have some stretching on, but sometimes it's the actual lesser evil to have a bit of stretching just to make it much more functional for texturing. And since we're never really going to see the top of the wardrobe, I'd argue that that's actually okay. And obviously we want to have it rotated, but yeah, I'd be inclined to just leave that as is. You could separate off this top section if you wanted to, but other than that I'd probably leave it as is. So we'll whack that up there and we'll leave that one now. And then the next thing we're going to do is these handle areas here. Now again, these are instant, so we can just do one instead of having to do both. So we'll apply an unwrap to this. And again, we're going to use our phase selection just to select that front section there, and then we could probably use flatten mapping on this just to get our shape. And again, rotate it 90 degrees. And we'll select all the other bits, the surrounding area. And what we'll do is we'll select that again actually, and we're just going to try doing unfold on that to see what effect it gives us. And I'm going to deselect the top and bottom and try that again. It's not doing a great job of it. So we'll just select the top, and if you hit Control I, that will select inverse, and then we'll try unfold just on that section. And I think that again will be fine for our needs. Turn on element just to select this bit. If it's not an element, one thing you can do is actually right click hide selected, and that will enable you to select areas and then unhide all. So I'm going to shrink that right down as well. Well, we'll just leave it for now. Close this. And then we'll work on this area here. Again, make sure in sweep that you have generate mapping chords turned on. And then we'll go to Unwrap, open our UV editor and apply our UVs. And now the issue here is going to be the bit that we added on to the model. So what I'm going to do is just come into polygon mode and just scale this down and scale it. Holding shift you can scale up like so as well, and then let go of shift just to get the size about right. And then what we'll need to do is actually select these areas, turn off ignore back facing so that we've got those, and then we'll do mapping, unfold on those. And if that doesn't work, we'll try box mapping, and if that doesn't work, we can try flatten. And again, if that doesn't work, you can just select the whole area like so and use a cylindrical map on it. So just come over to the projection tab and apply cylindrical. We'll just shrink that down to there. And there's our top cap, so we'll shrink that down too. And we'll do the same with these cylindrical map. Turn the cylindrical map off and then scale it down. One cool thing you can do here actually, well, let's have a look at the checker first. We'll get those to be relatively square. And one cool thing you can do is if you right click and go to copy, you should be able to just paste that straight onto there. So it will just copy paste the UVs essentially. We'll select both of those and do flatten mapping. Shrink them down. And again, you can just do copy, paste. Like so. Apply checker to that because we know we've unwrapped it. We'll select this area and again apply unwrap. Again we'll try unfold on this first. That gives us a poor result. Then we'll just use cylindrical again, I think. We'll fit that to there. And we should be able to just leave that as is, to be fair. We'll just scale it down and say put it there so we know which one it is. Okay, so we know that these are also unwrapped. Okay, so we'll apply a unwrap to this model, and again go to Open UV Editor, and we'll just select all and we'll try unfold. And if that does a kind of useless thing, which doesn't surprise me because it's such a kind of long thin object, it's going to struggle, or Max is going to struggle with something like that. You can just try something like one of the explode options here, and we can bring these in kind of closer together. I think for an object that's so thin you don't need to spend a massive amount of time getting it just right. I think we'd be alright with something like that. In fact, we'll just move this into somewhere over there so that we know where it is. So when we come to pack everything together, things aren't going to be in the way. Okay, so we know that that unwrap is applied to this model as well, but it shouldn't have applied to this one. So we need to unwrap this one as well, and luckily that will do the other three, and we'll just use the same process, so using the explode tools here. Oh, and the last thing of course is remember to move these somewhere out of the way, so for when we come to pack them all together. Okay, so we only have the interior left to do now, so let's select the doors and we'll hide those. And we'll select this interior object, and we'll select the drawers as well. So we can now do both of these. So again, apply an unwrap. And we'll select say this area like so. We'll try unfolding that. If that doesn't work, we'll try box mapping on it. So what we should be able to do here is just select all these. We can do the same technique we used before, which is just break it down into smaller chunks for the unfold. So we unfold that. There we go, we've got the main kind of area of the room now. And then all we have left is the top and the bottom bits there. Useless. So apply that to there, that's our bottom section. Rotate that 90 degrees. Rotate that 90 degrees, we'll slot that in up there. And we'll slot this in down here. So again, I'm not being kind of too precise about this bit, because I know it's going to be kind of simple colour all the way through this. We'll move that down to there. Okay, so we'll apply an unwrap to this. We'll open our UV editor. And what we're going to do is just, again using face selection, select this area here, and we'll just flatten map that. And in fact, we could probably do this with the drawers as well, actually. Oh, if it does that, then just do normal mapping, probably be left right, like so. And we'll select the top area, flatten map that. And you can tell by the blue line that we need to flip this vertically. And then all we have left is these bits here. So we'll just unfold those, and rotate, and we'll just place them under here. And we'll move that up there just so that we know where that is. And the last bit left to do is these here. So again, they're instant, so we only need to do one. So if we just select one, unwrap, open an editor, and we'll just select all and then do unfold. And if it doesn't do it correctly, we'll just break this off, rotate 90 degrees, vertex and element mode, turn on snap, we'll just snap that into place. We'll do the same with this, so tools, break, rotate 90 degrees, select all those and just assign to there. and then we'll shrink that right down. I'll just leave it there for now. Okay, so we know these are already unwrapped because they're instances of the handle up here. So that's that. That's the entire model now unwrapped. And the next thing to do is to actually start placing, making sure all the UVs are the same size and packing them into one space.